Hey everyone, welcome back. Bladesofgod here from Hammer Bros Gaming with part 5 of my Epic Tier 3 Engineer Achievement Guide. This guide is for the original Dead Space game, and it tasks players with completing the game on the hardest difficulty, which is called Impossible difficulty. As I said, this is part 5, we're going to be covering Chapter 5, and if you've seen any of my guides up to this point, you know that I'm not going to be covering basic things like movement, aiming, combat, all that. Basically, this is going to be telling you where there's going to be encounters, tips and tricks on how to get through the encounters, and just showing you what I did to get through the game. So after the introductory area, you're going to notice we're back in the same level or the same area we were in Chapter 2. You're going to go through the door on the right, and you're going to almost immediately be attacked by 2 lurkers. These lurkers seem to be a little bit aggressive, so I ended up shooting them a few times just to keep them backed off and give myself a little bit of space. But you know how to deal with lurkers at this point. Shoot the tentacles that pop out of their back. If they're on a wall, switch your orientation to vertical instead of horizontal to really capitalize on hitting those tentacles. Just a little more information, I'm only going to be using the plasma cutter and the pulse rifle during this playthrough. Here we have our first encounter with, I don't really know what their name is, I call them a Tentacle Man. They're these big sacks of enemy that just stick to a wall with tentacles coming out of them, and they like to throw out these little pods that shoot things at you. They're not terribly challenging. I struggle with this one because I am having a hard time seeing where the tentacles are on the wall, and that is how you want to dispose of them, is shoot the tentacles that are stuck to the wall. Once you chop off all the tentacles, the enemy will die. When you see him throw out the small pods with the individual tentacles, make those pods your priority because their distance attack actually does quite a bit of damage. It only takes one shot with the plasma cutter to cut off their tentacle and kill them, but you need to wait for just a second after the tentacle sprouts before you shoot, otherwise it will not do any damage. So, once you've taken care of all the pods and the Tentacle Man, run over and grab the loot. They're usually good for some credits or a medium med pack. Reload, check your health, and this right here is a great example of why I always carry a stasis recharge kit. I don't remember the last stasis station I saw, and I needed stasis to slow down this platform. You can see a lurker comes out, and I get a little nervous because I noticed the platform was speeding up, so I had to re-stasis it so I didn't get pulled through that electrical current, which will kill you. Take out the lurker once you make it across the moving platform. Again, this one is being very stubborn and just refused to die. So grab the loot, and then finally a stasis recharge station, which is great. I, being the stubborn person that I am, wanted to have a fully charged stasis, so I actually waited and stasised that platform twice. The second time after, the second time was after the station had recharged, so I could fill my stasis after shooting the platform. So continue down this path. You're going to head into Mercer's lab. Make sure you grab the power node between the 2 stasis tanks. Grab all of these boxes that are on the ground, lots of good stuff. And then when you're ready, go ahead and hit the control panel to activate part 1 of the poison that you need to collect. The scientist himself is going to pop up in this window and give you a spiel about how your resistance is futile and how humanity's future is the Necromorphs. And then we get to meet the indestructible regenerator. You can see I switched to my pulse rifle here because when I was healing myself I noticed that I didn't have a lot of plasma cutter ammo left, so because I like to keep at least 1, ideally 2 full stacks of ammo for each one of my guns on hand, I switched to my pulse rifle because I wanted my plasma cutter to be able to build up a reserve of ammunition. As the name kind of implies, these guys are unkillable. They just regenerate their limbs again and again and again. So I use the pulse rifle just a couple shots at a time to stun him until a leg and arm pop off. And I try to get out the door, but I get nervous that he's right behind me because even when the legs are gone, this thing can crawl pretty fast just pulling itself with its, I don't know what you want to call them, arms? Its upper limbs. So I bring it down to 1 and then I rush the door to try to get out. You can see I'm impatient because I'm pushing against the door even though it's not opening all the way. So come this way, you're going to take a left once you're out of the lab, and then you're going to be back in this room with that moving stasis tank. Be careful of this little flipper swarm that comes out of that hole on the left. I was trying to grab that explosive tank on the far end of the room to shoot at them, but I wasn't able to. But that's okay, because as you come across this little footbridge, you get attacked by a second swarm, so I run right by it so they all miss, turn around, grab the tank, and then shoot it into the middle of them, and the explosion should wipe them all out. At this point, go ahead and check the workbench if you have any extra nodes. I have one, so I decided to upgrade the reload speed of my pulse rifle. Remember, we always want to keep one power node on us just in case we come across any of the security or item rooms or safe rooms. I call them multiple things through these guides. But again, the important thing is always leave one power node on you. Once you make it back into this main atrium, go ahead, visit the store. I go into my safe, which is the first time I pull stuff out of my safe rather than putting it in. But that's why we have been storing items in the safe. So I grabbed another stasis recharge, I grabbed some health packs, and I think a little bit of ammo. We're going to follow our waypoint indicator. The good doctor is going to be in the window again, telling us about how, oh yeah, it's impressive you're still alive, but you're still going to die. And then he just walks off like no big deal. So we come into this room, and you should remember this room from the last time we were on this level. Just like last time, there's going to be a big fight, and there is a lot of goodies on the floor, on the corners, and on the tables. So make sure you're pretty thorough when it comes to checking the area for supplies. But as soon as you advance like past the halfway point, the regenerator drops in along with a few of the spitting necromorphs. So the best advice I can give in this room is keep moving. Take a few shots if you have a good line of sight on an enemy, and then keep moving because you can very easily get boxed in here. That regenerator, he is relentless when it comes to pursuing you, so he can very easily trap you against a wall or a table. You can see I've taken out 1, 2, this is the third of the spitting acid necromorphs. They go down pretty easily. They do more damage, but they are weaker, so that's nice. And then this little lurker, he actually caught me by surprise. I knew he was somewhere, but I didn't expect him to be so close. During this time, the other thing you want to do is keep your eye on that regenerator, because like I said, he's the big hitter in this room. So keep up the fight once you take out some of the enemies, and I'm not sure if it's based on enemy count or if it's time based, but eventually you'll get the all clear that, hey, the door's unlocked, you can go. I risk coming in here because the lockers have some more supplies, but that could have easily backfired if the regenerator had gotten back to his feet. So go through these double doors. I turn around to see where the regenerator's at and see that he's getting back up, so I back up a little more so the door closes, and we're into the next section. I reload my weapon. This is a great time to heal. I've got a few med packs. I go with the small med pack first and decide, let's burn a medium med pack as well to top off our health, because why not? As you advance, before you go into that little safe room there on the right, to the left of the safe room, across the hall behind this gurney, you can kind of see that little light, and that's a nice 2500 credit chip. So make sure you grab that. That's always useful to have more credits. To make your life a little bit easier, grab this explosive tank and walk forward, because you're going to be encountering another tentacle man. Once all the tentacles are out and stuck to the wall, just aim at center mass and launch the canister at its chest, and the explosive radius should be powerful enough to sever all the tentacles in one shot and basically just give you some free items off the dead body. Once the tentacle man is destroyed, take a right, head back down here to see this woman who somehow is still alive and completely crazy. Grab the supplies, backtrack into this room, which all should look familiar, and finally you make it to Mercer's private quarters. He's got a lot of goodies on the ground for supplies, so make sure you check all over the place, break open the boxes, and when you're ready, drop your canister into that mixer. Then as you're backtracking, Mercer's going to vent all the oxygen out. Now don't worry, because in an earlier chapter I actually suggested that you invest in invest some nodes into your air supply so you have time to deal with stuff like this. If you followed my advice, this part's a piece of cake. If you only have the basic air supply, you might need to rush a little bit more. But when the air vents, the little flipper swarms are going to come at you. Just take your time, pick them off. That's one of the reasons I love the pulse rifle, is that it's great at taking out those swarms. This part, as you backtrack, is supposed to slow you down and make you struggle a little bit. But I said, nope, I'm not bothering with it. So I hit that carrier form with some stasis and just booked it through the doors as quick as I could, because we need to make it back to the atrium and reactivate our oxygen supply. So, through the doors, through the blast doors, through the barricade that we used thermite to destroy a few chapters ago, reactivate your air, and you're good to go. I come over here, hit the store one more time, sell off what I can sell off, store what I can store in the safe, and then I buy a couple more power nodes, because why not? It's always great to have power nodes. And we're backtracking again. It's just back and forth in this level. So because I have a couple more power nodes, I go back to my workbench, and I actually I consider upgrading my pulse rifle, but I end up upgrading my rig and set myself up for more HP once I have my next power node. So we're backtracking, we're back into Mercer's lab now. I'm looking around to make sure nothing's going to jump me. Do the final mixing of the poison, and we're almost done with the chapter already. This is a quick chapter. So after some more dialogue, that locked door is going to unlock. Double back on yourself and grab the boxes in the corner. Quite a few lockers here with some supplies and credits in it, and there's a save point that I'm going to use just because why not? Might as well save our progress because it's gone pretty smoothly. Open the door, but before you go into this room, grab as many of the boxes and supplies as you can with your kinesis and break them open. Once you walk into the room, the events start to happen, and you have a much more limited time to get everything before the regenerator comes back out. Now, this fight isn't actually all that hard, and once you know how to do this, it's really easy. Basically, you want to lure the regenerator into the central chamber, take out his legs to slow him down, then hit him with some stasis as he's coming in. There's a couple of lurkers that come in as well, but I just ignored them, and it worked out really well this time. Run into this door, turn around, hit the control panel, and it'll activate a cryogenics system or subsystem that freezes the regenerator. And you don't have to worry about the lurkers. There's no vents, so they can't get into this room with you. Kendra comes back on a video link to tell you, hey, you're all set. Basically, you just grab whatever supplies are left in that room, go through the other door, and you're back in a terminal. So grab the credits in that little glassed-in room, hit the board, save your progress, and you are done Chapter 5. Good work, guys. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.